take the floor. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I would like to congratulate you and other members of the Bureau on your election. Pakistan aligns itself with the statement delivered by Indonesia on behalf of the non-aligned movement. Mr. Chairman, we are meeting at a moment of crisis, a crisis of health, of economy, and of security. A global crisis should have brought humanity together. Instead, the pandemic has revealed all the fault lines and accentuated the existing and emerging threats to international peace and security. There is an emergence of new rivalries and resurgence of old conflicts. Key arms control agreements are being undermined. Global non-proliferation norms have eroded. A qualitative and quantitative arms race is underway. Emerging technologies are expanding the frontiers of warfare. Strategic competition between the big powers, the pursuit of military dominance by some states, and the unilateral use of force and intervention have gravely jeopardized international peace and security. Mr. Chairman, in our region, the aggressive policies and military posture of the largest state in South Asia, which is now ruled by a neo-fascist regime, pose an immediate and pervasive threat to international peace and security. In February 2019, India committed blatant aggression against Pakistan with its infructuous aerial incursion. In subsequent exchanges, it lost 2 of its aircraft. As a goodwill gesture, Pakistan's Prime Minister returned the captured Indian pilot. Unfortunately, this was misconstrued as weakness, and India's posture only grew more aggressive. On 5th August 2019, India took unilateral measures to change the status of the disputed state of Jammu and Kashmir, inducted an additional 200,000 troops, bringing the size of its occupation army to 900,000. India has since imposed a military siege in occupied Jammu and Kashmir with the design to annex the occupied territory, change its demography through illegal immigration, and deny its people their right to self-determination as prescribed and upheld by the resolutions of the Security Council. All political leaders were jailed, 13,000 youth abducted and many tortured, peaceful protests were violently put down, collective punishments imposed with the destruction of entire villages and neighborhoods, and hundreds of innocent Kashmiri youth murdered in fake extrajudicial killings. Along the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir, Indian forces continue to resort to artillery and small arms fire every day, targeting innocent civilians on our side. There were over 3,000 ceasefire violations in 2019 and over 2,400 this year so far. Such daily military provocations are accompanied by repeated threats of aggression by India's political and military leaders. Pakistan has acted with restraint to these provocations and threats, but as we demonstrated in February 2019, Pakistan will respond decisively to any Indian aggression with the full force of our capabilities. India's aggressive posture and actions are accompanied by one of the world's largest military acquisition and development programs, with over $70 billion spent just last year on new conventional and non-conventional weapons, on land, sea, air, and space. India has nuclearized the Indian Ocean, deployed anti-ballistic missiles, developed and tested debris-generating anti-satellite weapons, and is constantly increasing the range, sophistication, and diversification of all types of delivery systems and platforms. India's so-called no first use policy lacks credence. Its defense minister himself cast doubt on this when he held out the threat of preemptive nuclear attack against Pakistan last year. India has operationalized its cold start doctrine of a surprise attack against Pakistan, deploying several strike force brigades close to the border. Outlined plans for a naval blockade and proclaimed the intention of fighting a limited war with Pakistan under, quote, the nuclear overhang, unquote. Since the advent of Mr. Modi's BJP RSS Hindu extremist government in 2014, India has refused to engage in any dialogue with Pakistan on either the resolution of disputes or the control of armaments and the avoidance of war. Disturbingly, India's aggressive proclivities and its military belligerence and pretensions to great power status are being fed by those powers which are supplying it with the latest weaponry, either to turn a profit or to serve their strategic objectives in Asia. They must know that 70% of India's military capabilities are deployed against Pakistan. The net result, Mr. Chairman, is the exacerbation of tensions in military competition in the region and an intensification of the threat to Pakistan and to peace and security in South Asia, the Indian Ocean, and beyond. Mr. Chairman, Pakistan will take all necessary measures to ensure its security and to maintain full spectrum deterrence. Peace and stability in South Asia can only be achieved through, first, the resolution of disputes between Pakistan and India, particularly the core issue of Jammu and Kashmir. Two, the maintenance of a balance between the conventional forces of the two sides. And three, reciprocal measures of nuclear and missile restraint. Pakistan's proposal for a strategic restraint regime in South Asia based on these interlocking elements remains on the table. Mr. Chairman, Pakistan remains committed to the goal of a nuclear weapons-free world. Nuclear disarmament needs to be pursued in a comprehensive and holistic manner. To this end, it is essential to recognize and address the key motivations that drive states to possess nuclear weapons. An equitable and non-discriminatory international security order can be promoted by addressing the security concerns of all states, limiting conventional weapons stockpiles, strengthening the non-proliferation regime by pursuing non-discriminatory arrangements, and extending negative security assurances to non-nuclear weapon states. Mr. Chairman, Pakistan's 4 draft resolutions designed to promote these objectives will be circulated to the committee and tabled thereafter. Mr. Chairman, Pakistan reiterates its call to forge a new consensus on disarmament, a consensus which is based on equity and with the aim of promoting equal security for all states. I thank you, sir.
I thank the distinguished representative of Pakistan, Ambassador Akram.